Hard to believe, 25 years since the Oshawa Generals last won the Memorial Cup. Alicia Warner is with us tonight to tell us all about the Generals, as they, of course, are trying to do it this year. And two members of the Generals, Rick Kornacki and Fred Brathwaite, paid a recent visit to the GMC as well. Alicia, tell us about it.
Well, you're right, Raj. Expectations have been high for the Generals all season long this year, and that's no different throughout their first-round series against the Petes. But it's not just an OHL championship the Jennies fans want. They want another Memorial Cup. 1990 was a long time ago for some of these fans, but let's take a look back now, 25 years to 1990 and the Jennies in Hamilton at the Memorial Cup.
Rick Kornacki coached the Oshawa Generals in 1990, the last time the Gens took home the Memorial Cup.
Most exciting thing that could ever happen. I mean, it's a dream come true that you're able to win. It's a pretty difficult trophy to win. First time in 45 years that Oshawa had achieved that goal. We had a special team that year, and it was great to cap it off with a win in double overtime.
Also in attendance on Sunday was Fred Brathwaite, who stepped in for goalie Kevin Butt halfway through the 1990 championship game.
Well, you know, I remember going to the rink and knowing that I wasn't playing, and just going into the rink and seeing that it was going to be sold out, and all of a sudden my partner Kevin Butt got hurt and I got thrown in the net, and actually didn't even have time to think. I just kind of went in there and tried to play my game.
Brathwaite stayed in net for the remainder of the game, which went into double overtime, with Bill Armstrong scoring the winning goal.
Winning that in double overtime, I mean, getting the opportunity to actually even play in that game and end up being the Memorial Cup champions, obviously it was huge.
And the 1990 championship winners have high hopes that the current Gens players can follow in their footsteps.
They're very talented. Just watching them tonight, they're a very talented team that should go a long way. But again, a lot of times it's not how good you are. You got to get some luck. You puck luck, you get some good bounces, and you got to stay healthy.
I obviously know they've been rated one of the best teams in the country, but a lot of hard work still has to go through, and hopefully these guys can pull it off and end up bringing another Memorial Cup back.
Oh, what great memories from back in 1990. The Oshawa Generals looking to do it again this year. And Alicia, this year's team looks pretty good, but boy, they got a hard act to follow. That was a great team in 1990.
Hard act to follow in terms of excitement, double overtime that game goes to. And Roger, you were there. Maybe give us your recollections about that game.
Well, Sherry Basson sat next to me. He was no longer the general manager of the Generals then. He'd moved on to Sault Ste. Marie. But through the entire overtime and the double overtime, he was so nervous because he wanted the Generals to win. Every rush was so great. It was a sellout crowd at Copps Coliseum. What an event, and the Jennies win in double overtime. 25 years later, how great would it be if they won this year?
Especially on a 25th year anniversary like this, and a year that a lot of fans are expecting a lot from the team.
There's no question about that. So we will set up the Generals playoff schedule for you when Alicia returns. We'll have the Durham sports calendar. We'll run down all the Generals games and more. If you'd like your item in the Durham calendar, drop me a tweet at the Rog590 or email Roger at sportsnet590.ca, and Alicia will read your scoreboard next. Home team's calendar is coming up, and you're watching the home team. It's only on RogersTV. It's a home team on RogersTV. Thanks again to our friends at the Oshawa Ringette Association for coming by. OshawaRingette.ca has got all the information on their under-12 tournament coming up. And learn to play ringette on April the 11th. Check it out, folks. It's a great sport with a great tradition in our community. Speaking, though, of great traditions, the Oshawa Generals are the biggest. The OHL playoffs are underway. And Alicia, Game 4 is coming up in Peterborough, and the Generals are in great shape so far.
They are up 2 games to none to start the series. Then we have Game 4 coming up shortly. But despite just a 1-goal win in Game 2, Jennies looking pretty good in that opening round series, as they should, you know, as a first seed in the Eastern Conference, but definitely looking to get the early wins in easy early on, just to kind of, you know, save a bit of legs maybe.
For the playoffs.
If you want a long run.
There's no question. You want to get the first series over quickly. Game 4 will go Thursday in Peterborough at 7 o'clock. Now, if necessary, obviously depending on what happens, 5, 6, and 7 go Friday night, Sunday, and Tuesday, the Friday and Tuesdays here at the General Motors Center. But I'm sure the Generals would like to get this series over with sooner rather than later, so we'll see what transpires there. And the rest of the OHL playoffs, as we can see there, Alicia, have been interesting as well. Sault Ste. Marie just nosed out the Generals for the Hamilton Spectator Trophy. They're up 2-0. They've got quite a team, and Erie on the other side, a great team too.
Those are two teams that a lot are expected of them, and I think maybe a lot of people see those as maybe being their favorites in the Western Conference, but another matchup that's a key matchup in that Western Conference, maybe two teams that might beat up on each other quite a bit. The Guelph Storm, the Owen Sound Attack, that series has all the makings to be maybe a long dragged out series. I think in the Eastern Conference, the Generals might like to see, speaking of long dragged out series, maybe the Kingston North Bay series, the Niagara Ottawa series, both of those maybe have the makings to be longer series as well, although in the early going of the Kingston North Bay series, Kingston yet to notch a win.
Yeah, North Bay got 2 easy wins to start that series. Ottawa and Niagara of importance because that's the likely second-round pick for the Generals, and that's all been about home ice so far, Alicia. Ottawa won both games at home. Niagara won at home as well. I think that series can go 6 or 7, and maybe that tires them out, makes it a little easier for the Generals in round 2.
You talk about playoff positioning down the stretch of the regular season in the OHL, but that home ice advantage in the playoffs is oh so important for so many teams. It does have a lot of importance. I think it's really sold short throughout the end of the regular season. We saw how good the Sioux were at home throughout the regular season, and if you're facing an opponent like Erie, where you think, okay, they have so much firepower up front, maybe that would be a tougher challenge, but for the Sioux, they have home ice advantage. Maybe that's just the key they need.
25 years since the Generals won another Memorial Cup. Let's hope it's this year. That would be great.
Could be, couldn't it?
Alicia, join us next week for the calendar. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Hope you join us all next week as well. I'm Roger Lajoie for Alicia Warner, our producer, Aaron Miller, our great crew. Thanks for watching the home team. We're back again next week. Go Jennies up until then, and we'll talk to you next time on the home team. But for now, good night from Oshawa.